From Politico. Trump haphazardly stashed military secrets throughout his home, indictment says. Prosecutors charged Trump with 37 felonies, including 31 counts under the Espionage Act of willful retention of classified records. 37 felonies. I mean, this is breakdown of political and social order in the United States.
Yeah, and in how many did they have in New York? I can't remember. How many was that?
Was that 7?
Yeah, something like
I
that.
don't know.
But
I don't want to pull it up.
You know, the timing on this is so interesting, right? It's literally the day that the Republicans in Congress announced that they have Biden dead to rights on the Burisma bribe deal. Same exact day.
And we knew it the whole time. It was a remarkable moment on this show. I'd like to give a shout out to our friend Hunter Avalon when I brought up that Joe Biden said, if you don't fire the prosecutor, you're not getting the loans. And he goes, that never happened. And I was like,
that's on video.
I pulled up the video and I'm like, there's the video of it happening. And it's remarkable to me how many people are willing to opine on the Ukraine conflict without having done the research into the Burisma scandal, the Qatar Turkey pipeline, Gazprom, etc. We've been talking about this for some time. I went through Ukrainian, Russian, British, French, and U.S. news reports tracking down what was going on. I went through Wikipedia, which is, I know, not the best, but I'm trying to connect the dots. And the dots are pretty clear. The guy who was running Burisma, you got a former CIA guy on the board. You got Hunter Biden on the board.
Yep.
It is clear that there is something nefarious going on. When Biden came out and said, you know, we want to fire the prosecutor because he wasn't good, and then he gets fired and they put someone good in, lies. The CEO of Burisma had fled the country. The prosecutor had about a dozen or more, this is according to Matt Taibbi, open investigations into Mykola Zlochevsky and Burisma. When the prosecutor got fired, those investigations go away. Zlochevsky returns to the country.
He was the CEO, Zlochevsky?
He's the founder. I think he was CEO. He's the founder.
Yeah.
When Trump then starts asking questions, what's going on? Flees the country again.
Yeah.
So when Biden's intervention resulted in the guy coming back.
Right.
Nonsense. It is clear as day.
And so that drops the exact same day as this. Not to mention, how many boxes does Biden have next to his Corvette in his garage?
You know,
I mean, like, what the hell are we talking about here? I mean, you know, this is so obviously political, and this Department of Justice has been so politically motivated now for so many years. I mean, we've seen it. I mean, how many investigations into Trump, right? Oh, Russia collusion, fake, totally fake. Everybody knows that it's fake now, right? And so now here we are on this one as well.
I hope everybody knows that it's fake if it's fake, because I have a feeling that 70 million people have no idea.
I think you're right about that, but I bet everybody in this room knows it's fake. So
I believe it's fake.
Teflon Don. Many people have taken shots at him. He's gone through many like impeachments and whatnot. I can't even remember all of the scandals, but it seems as though they're saying there's like a smoking gun here, where there's this transcript in the indictment where it's saying that he's talking to a staffer about declassifying when he's not able to. Have you seen this stuff, and do you think this will be the one that gets him, or?
Well, let me just real quick.
Yeah,
sorry
go ahead,
to interrupt.
Tim.
But hey, you want to buy a bridge from me?
If it's cheap enough, I don't know. I mean, do you have a deal for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I think this one's going to stick? I don't. I don't think it's going to stick. And I will say, you in the psyche and the conscious of the American people out here who are not kind of like brainwashed into thinking that Trump colluded with Russia and all these other things. I don't think they're going to believe this either. I mean, how many of these things are going to keep coming up that they're going to try to get him on?
To answer your question, in New York, he's been charged with 34 felony counts.
Yeah, 34 felony counts in New York, and nothing came of that.
He's the first former president to be criminally indicted, as I understand. Many people say this will escalate with a tit for tat once a Republican is elected.
100%.
Do you want to see different former Democrats indicted on things? Well, I'm sure they could find the Burisma stuff with Joe Biden, but would you like to see Democratic former presidents also searched through and possibly indicted?
I mean, not in any political manner. But look, if they have broken the law, then yes. I mean, then yes. Look, I mean, people need to be answerable to the law, and I mean, our current president certainly isn't, and
what
somehow
if they
his son is
bent
not.
the law?
A good prosecutor could indict Iraq is, one of the sayings. If you have a good prosecutor, you could find anything to indict on. So that's why I kind of ask. It becomes political once they start indicting Republicans and then them trying to do it back to them. So on that,
yeah, and this isn't the first time you've seen this, right? So they started down this path, impeachment with Richard Nixon, and then they came back in revenge on Bill Clinton, right? I mean, so you've seen some of this before, but it's like you've gone through 2 impeachments with Trump, you've gone through all these investigations and all that. I mean, it is in one sense, though, I'd say what's very interesting about it is that it shows you the power of the deep state. It shows you how powerful they are, and it is exposing who is actually in charge here.
Absolutely.
It's
Joe Biden.
Every day it's Joe Biden. It's the relentless nature of the
funny that
organization.
Me saying Joe Biden was in charge is a joke, and everyone laughs.
Man, I saw a video of him today just staggering around on stage with a vacant stare, and then I saw his profile, and it looked really like a fat cheek.
It's like, Mr. Magoo is our president.
Yeah.
Man, that show was funny.
And that's an indicate, like, why is the Justice Department going sideways? Well, we have no leadership or a lack of leadership. Like, a good president, no matter who you are, is going to know that you don't want to disrupt and destroy your political establishment.
Oh, if you're part of the deep state right now and you're working there, this is like the greatest time of your life.
Yeah.
You think they enjoy it?
Oh, this is great.
Very little
I mean,
oversight.
you're just left to your own devices. It's all political appointees and people that have been there forever that are just having the time of their life. And they're getting a lot done, unfortunately. And I mean, it's unfortunate for all the people in America. But I will say this about Hunter. Hunter could play a very critical role in ending the war in Ukraine, I do believe. All he would have to do, I think, for a brief period of time, given the nature of his consumption, boycott perhaps Russian liquor and hookers, and the war's over. I mean, I think it would have an effect on the economy that would be irreversible, perhaps.
Like that Putin would fly him out.
Yeah, it's
wine
like,
and dine him.
Hunter, we need you back, please. How
do you feel about this war in Ukraine situation? What kind of resolution do you see?
You know, I think the unfortunate thing is that you're not seeing, and of course out of this administration, there seems to be no diplomatic overtures whatsoever to try to end the war in Ukraine. And there needs to be some type of negotiated end to this. If you think that the Ukrainians are going to be able to categorically and strategically defeat the Russian military and defeat Russia, that's not a likely outcome, right? And so they need to be in a position where there can be some type of negotiated peace settlement here. The Ukrainians, though, for them, they want Crimea back. They want the Donbass. You know, I don't know if that's necessarily possible, but there needs to be some type of diplomatic overtures from our Secretary of State, who seems to be, has anybody seen him? Tony Blinken, the Secretary of State? I hear nothing from him. Nothing from him on this. I feel like I've heard more from like Henry Kissinger, who's like 100, right? I mean, like he's talked about this more than Tony Blinken has.
It's funny you mentioned that because Tony Blinken actually went to Henry Kissinger's 100th birthday in New York City like sometime last week. Not to derail the conversation too aggressively, but I think it kind of relates to this. President Joe Biden has said that if Taiwan is attacked by China, then we will defend them. Do you think the United States should come to the defense of Taiwan if attacked by China?
Yeah, I think that we do have to deter China as it relates to Taiwan. And I think that there can be deterrence in that because you're talking about a massive area that is hugely important to the United States as it relates to the economy of the United States, right? But deterrence is the key here. I mean, somebody said a long time ago, if you want peace, prepare for war. Right?
Isn't it, if we we will defend Taiwan, that would be setting deterrence then. So can we get a yes or no answer on it?
Deterrence is different than war.
Well,
right?
we'd be deterring China by telling them that we would come to the defense of Taiwan.
Yes, but deterrence is also power projection, right? So I'll give you a great example. We deterred the Soviet Union for decades, right? I mean, that was the detente. That was the deterrent strategy there. Deterrence can be a viable option here because they're going to make the calculation because for them, they're going to have to look to see, okay, they're going to take airstrikes into Taiwan. Eventually, they will have to put boots on the ground in an amphibious assault, right? But then they're also going to have to take out our assets in Third Fleet, right, who's out there in the Pacific. that is going to then incur massive casualties on their side and ours. Amphibious, they've not done amphibious invasion, right? So they're trying to think that 100-mile stretch that they're going to have to cross, what that looks like. We have to make that calculation as difficult as humanly possible for them.
So if I just could, Joe Biden has repeatedly said that we will militarily intervene if Taiwan is attacked by China. Do you agree with Joe Biden or disagree? I feel like, I know we could put a lot of, but at the end of the day, like...
Yeah, I mean, that statement is like so basic, I guess.
It's what he says is why I'm asking it kind of specifically like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like with anything with him. It's like, it's such a basic answer. It's like we should, like what his answer should be is like, we should deter China from invading Taiwan.
He'd argue that he's deterring them by saying that he would come to their defense.
And Trump did something similar.
Yeah.
Trump famously bragged that he told Xi Jinping and Putin that he would nuke. What did he say? Shanghai and
Moscow, I think.
He said Moscow, and he was like, and they don't really believe me, maybe 5%, but it was enough.
Yeah,
and that was like, I'm like, man, I like Trump. I get why he's doing it. If it stops the war,
yes,
I'm pressing this is the biggest geopolitical issue.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. We have to. The stated objective here is, for me, to stop war. Like, we don't want a war.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.